Hello, everybody. I can't do
Fantastic. Fantastic.
it.
Greatest intro in the world, and then you followed up with that. That's perfect.
Exactly. If you couldn't guess who our guest is from that, then you need to get on the computer more. It's usually how it is. It's usually the other way around. You have to get outside, but
Right.
in this case, you need to get on the computer more and stop looking at your baseball cards and check out our guest.
Right. That's absolutely right. And us as well. And everybody else we watch.
Yeah, man. Welcome to a 22nd episode of Cardboard and Cold Ones, where we raise our beers and cheers to the legends on the cardboard that we admire and whatever.
Well, yeah. I could say the universe is right. The universe is right again, everybody. I am drinking PBR tonight, so
I'm going with some Einstock Arctic Lager.
You're a fancy beer drinker.
It's Icelandic.
You are fancy. I don't even have those fancy.
I wish
beers.
I had a PBR, but this is like the beer that I was, waiting some of the last beers in the fridge. You know what I mean?
That's what I was doing the last 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, what's left here? So,
but let's bring in our guest.
yes.
You guys know him. He has just been inducted to the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. And I will let him do the intro if he wants to, because I love hearing it. Mr. Eddy's Cardboard Chaos. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. I was thinking I wouldn't be able to top the way you did it, but since you set me up here, I'll give you one. Hello, everybody.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm in the presence of greatness. 2 Hall of Famers here. My goodness, I don't know if I can handle this.
Jason, would you start?
There you go.
Now, not a lot of people know this about me, but I'm actually a non-drinker. I have a lot of people in my family that don't want to drink but can't stop. You know what I mean? So, in deference to them, about a year and a half ago, I just decided, since I can control it, I'll be the one that just says no, even though I do miss a lovely beer on a hot day. But so I have Coke Zero.
Nice.
And I actually can't stop drinking this. So I got my own issues. And I probably average 2 of these a day. And there's something in here. One of these things on this label is straight up crack to me because I don't know.
You're hooked.
I got to have them. Here we go.
Let's take a look and see. We had, you know what? This is Rick Vintage Oddball Cards. Did his hello, everybody. Chris from Missouri. Aaron was, I guess this was a tailgating session. Yes. Jake is here. Cardcast is here. Peacemaker Cards. The usual suspects, more or less.
Yes.
And Jeannie. Yes, Jake. Hello to you too, sir. Tony's here. Peter B. Everyone showed out for you, brother. We were talking about John before. John is here. Keith is here. Brian is always telling everybody to give video a like. So I really appreciate that, Brian.
Yes.
You are playing the role of moderator. I should give you a wrench for that.
You wrench them.
Roasted by Mom Coffee. Hello, everyone. Do you make it? I assume you must have a coffee shop. You must share where it is. If you do. Dylan with the double shaka. Pastor Eddy. Pastor Craig. Pastor Eddy is here. And of course, one of the hardest working channels right now that I've been seeing, the CRT Sports Cards, Chris, Mr. T206 himself. Awesome. But speaking of hard workers, let's talk to you, Eddy. You're a hard worker. You work hard, man. You put in day in and day out. You put the effort in. Doesn't go unnoticed. And we talked about this, before. Is that you kind of have you have your hands in the TTM, you have your hands in modern, you have your hands in vintage, and the votes that you were getting were from kind of everybody from all walks of life. So, I mean, when you're getting that sort of support, what sort of feelings do you get from that?
Well, first off, it's extremely flattering. And I think, and you would have to ask those people that when I've sort of moved from one thing to the other, I never totally stopped doing any one thing. And the connection I made with people while I was, let's say, really heavy into TTM, I was able to keep. And so I still watch. There's a great TTMer, Michael Myers. He does several uploads a week, and he'll get back 30 returns. And I still watch those, even though I'm not sitting out. I sent out 30 last year, I think. But I'm still watching that, still fascinating, still commenting. And I think I've been able to keep like all those balls in the air, so to speak. Now, there's a lot of content that I don't get to, particularly, and I love Greg Midlife, but I can't watch 50 minutes of Greg every day. But that's what he puts up. So I still have to pick and choose, just like everybody, I think.
Yeah.
But I've just done a good enough job of, for whatever reason, like building relationships, being able to maintain them, and I'm really grateful for that. For whatever reason, people keep coming back, and I know I made a video in November, I think it was, maybe it was early January now. It was a couple of my drive time episodes ago where I sort of was complaining about like being totally stuck on 850 subscribers. And I mean, it literally didn't move more than one up or down for parts of 4 months.
Jesus.
And really this whole Hall of Fame process thing kind of got it unstuck. And now I think I'm a little bit shy of 900, but I just keep going back to this. I get the engagement that I want in the comments and like just looking at the chat here and everything. So I don't really need that number to move, but it was sort of alarming to see that it just wasn't. But I was never considering. I think 2 people texted me just recently and said, "Hey, you were thinking of quitting. Isn't it great now that you got into the Hall of Fame and all that?" And I said, I was never thinking of quitting. If you go really watch that video, I made it clear. I am not quitting. I was just complaining. So,
well,
anyway.
like I will say to your point, and I made a post about this today, kind of highlighting some channels in a post about how, I get it. Like, we make videos because we enjoy what we do. We enjoy showing our collections. We just the capability of making videos is one thing. But I mean, we'd be lying to ourselves if we're saying, "Oh, we're just doing it because we love doing it." That's not the only reason. We need an audience. We need an audience, and from an audience, you need subscribers. I know you say, count them as friends, of course, because they're friends. But you need an audience. You need friends, subscribers. You need people to come back and continue and support. And it's like deep down there. That's part. I think there is a part of every creator that wants that, and we'd be lying to ourselves if we're saying that's not true.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eddie.
Jason, it's like with anything else. Like you always want more of what you're getting if you like that thing. So even though I was at, let's say, 850 and really happy with all the friends that I made and all these connections, 2 trips to the National, texting people daily, phone call, comments, still 900 friends would beat 850. So it's just sort of that mentality. I think it's like when you buy cards, like, hey, I got the set mostly complete. Well, I'm going to keep going. Okay, I finished that set. Now I'm on to something else. And you're just continually taking it to the next level. So when you notice what like a perceived stall out, well, do I need to change something, or do I need to change my attitude, or what have you? And so I think that's normal and natural. But what were you saying, Jason?
Sure. Yeah, basically, I was going to say, first and foremost, I agree with Sammy 100%. When you're doing this, you would be lying to yourself if you said that you don't want that validation and you don't want to see that growth. We all want to succeed at whatever we do. If you put time into it, you want to succeed at it. The one thing that I have said, which was the driving force of why I did this and started it, and your channel kind of solidified it for me, Eddie, it was the line, we don't count subscribers, we count friends. It really is a secondary and an ancillary thing for me. I'm a small channel. For those who don't know, Eddy was one of my frat brothers at the National. I think at the time that I met you, Eddy, I may have had 150 subscribers. I was the new kid on the block, legitimately. And the channel hasn't grown drastically since then, but the connections that I've made far outweigh anything that may bring me down about the channel not growing, right? And I'm going to want to continue to do what I want to do as far as show the collection that I have in a manner that I want to show it. And there are going to be some videos that don't hit and others that hit for crazy reasons that I don't even understand. But at the end of the day, the relationships that I've made with all of my friends, and I consider you guys my friends, and all of the people that I've met, that is, it seems to me like the generation now that's coming into this card community, that's the driving force. And I try to tell people it's not just lip service, it's legit. You'll hear the same story over and over again. Well, I was collecting in a bubble. I saw a bunch of guys on YouTube. These guys are all friends. They're all having a blast. You've got the Misfits. You got the Frat House. You got, whatever you got. You got Mike and his buddy, Mike Moynihan and his buddy. You see all this and you want to be a part of it. And that's what hooked me. I met several guys prior to starting the channel. And, my collection, your first thought is my collection good enough? And there's no such thing as a collection not being good enough. It's your collection. You just show it.
Yeah.
So I think that, along with, that's why your statement, it rings true to me, or like very true to me. So, of course, I'd love to see the channel grow it, and it has. And I'll continue to put out videos and hope that they grow. You're right, Sammy. You'd be lying if you said you weren't looking at it once in a while, because you want to succeed.
Well, Chris says likes and comments are far superior than sub count, as that shows true engagement with the creator. Subs are just a vanity metric. Yeah.
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Like I have X amount of subscribers. I don't even know. I think I'm close to 440. But if I'm getting a rate of 250 views or 300 views, that's theoretically over half of my subscribers. So I'm like, okay, if it ain't family, my wife's not watching every video. I think she's subscribed. So, that's a vanity sub right there. My wife, my kids, and, so he's right. I understand that statement.
Yeah. Yeah. There's two ways I choose to look at the engagement is even on a video that maybe doesn't do well, or at least whatever you would perceive that to be. For me, if I get a video with 50 views, I would say that's probably not a lot for me. But if I think of it this way, if I was just opening TTMs here, or had a card out and was talking about it, and there was 50 people standing behind me, like that would really be something else. Okay. Yes. I really don't think it's any different than that. I really don't see it as any different. Yeah, we're not in the same room, but that's not how the world works right now. The other thing,
I'm sorry,
kind of what you were saying, Jason, is I noticed this with channels that are good at responding to comments. They obviously get more comments because someone makes a comment. Hodges, great guy, comments on every video.
Yes.
And it's a meaningful comment, right? It's not just like, hey, great card. So he knows I'm going to respond to that. And now we have a thing going. But there are huge channels, 20,000 subscribers that are going to get 5% of whoever viewed that video commenting. And they're in it for something else, obviously. But if you're in it for the community, I love seeing a video with 100 views and 50 comments. I mean, for half the people, you got to figure a lot of those people are mobile and can't comment easily anyway. Some people are watching it on TV. So a large percentage, I would say, of people on PCs or phones are taking time out of their day to leave a comment on that video because they cared about what you were doing, or they cared about you, or they cared about the relationship. And there's no other platform that offers that. And I hope people understand that.
I agree 1,000%, my friend. And yes, that is well said. And that's part of the reason I think I've had this conversation. My buddy Aaron, Value Vintage Cards, did a video a while back, and he stated something about things that he doesn't really like or terms he may not like, and one of them was a lurker, and I kind of agreed with him and started raising that flag of I don't like the lurker comment either. These are people who are taking time out of their day to watch what I'm doing. You're not a lurker. You're a viewer. You're a friend and a viewer. You know, you make
Viewer,
it sound,
participant.
yeah, you make it sound creepy when you call them a lurker. You know, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
they're not lurkers. I wasn't, and I get it. It's just a lighthearted statement, but I try not to use it. You know, when I talk about myself, I say yes, I was a lurker, but in theory, I was a viewer of several channels that I enjoyed their content, and that's why I chose
Just
to watch.
leaving this comment up for a second. John brought up a good point. I usually have at least one comment that ends up generating a back and forth for 2 to 3 comments each. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's no
that's
different than texting somebody or anything like that.
yeah.
Yeah, just on the lurker front, I think back to before I even started YouTube, I was just doing for probably 12 years. I just did TTMs. That's all I did. If a card wasn't signed, I thought it was totally worthless. Why would you want a card that wasn't signed? Like, that was my mindset. That's how into it I was. Okay. And of course I still TTM, but now I have this vintage collection. I mean, this whole case is vintage and you guys know all that. But I went on YouTube to see if other people were TTMing and who I could maybe send to. And I kept finding this guy, Mike O. I kept seeing this videos of Mike O. And he was a huge TTMer at the time. Matter of fact, when I met him in 2022, I told him this. I said, hey, you were one of the first channels I watched. And you were doing tons of TTMs, and that's all I was doing at the time. And he's kind of like, oh, yeah, TTMs. And his response, the response was, I wish I was still sending out as much as I used to. But I was technically a lurker. But because I did that, eventually I'm like, hey, I know there's a platform now that you can share whatever, and it's easy. You just need a phone or whatever. Speaking of phone, it worked. Anyway, but had I never been a lurker, and I wasn't commenting on those because I didn't think I had an account at that time.
Right.
But had I never done that, never would have been here.
Yeah, it's a gradual process, right? So I watched a lot of channels. I know which channels were some of the first channels that I watched. One of them was Sammy, and I would never, ever in a million years comment. I don't think I had an account either, Eddie. And then so my first account, it was Jason Janiga, my full name.
I remember that.
And then I changed it to Everyday Card Collector. And I remember when I first commented to Sammy, he's like, I think this is that other guy, but I'm not, he's like, I think this is that Jason. And I'm like, yeah, it's me. It's the same guy.
Yeah, that was
You're right. But you graduate from watching to getting the gumption to comment. And then once you comment more, and you feel like you're becoming part of that community. And there are so many great people who invite you in. We all know Orlando. He promotes everybody. Mine was Alex Bowman 53. I jumped on the Sunday show about nothing, and I was just having conversations. And I remember I told this to him the first time I commented on, I think it was Alex's or Sammy's channel. I think it was Alex's, and he put it up on the screen, and I'm like, hey, look, there's my comment. I took a screenshot of it. I'm like, look, hon, he put up what I said right there.
Man.
I was thinking like, well, this guy doesn't know who I am. Well, why is he putting that up there? So, and then you slowly get comfortable. As I met people, that basically pulled the trigger. When I met everybody at the 2023 National, I said, I got to do this. So
yeah. So Scott was asking, who did I start watching? The first channel I can think of off the top of my head is The Past is Alive.
Yeah.
So that was John Jabs.
John Jabs, right?
His brother. I know his brother got into some hot water in various times, but I never really watched his brother that much. I've usually watched John.
I watched his brother because I still occasionally watch a lot of modern guys who break, and I just watch it to keep up with the product. And I don't even necessarily buy the product. I want to see what the new sets, like Series 1 just came out for 2025. I want to see what it looks like. So I'll watch a couple guys who break hobby boxes and jumbo boxes and whatever, just to see just to, get a feel for it. And it's, I still pick up base modern, so cheap modern for me. I'll still do that, at card shows, dollar bins and things of that nature. So it keeps me up to date in that manner.
So John brings up, I guess it's, for newer channels, one of the best things you can do is comment on other people's videos, because then those guys will probably reciprocate and watch you. That's true. And I'll also say that tagging them in videos, I'm not saying to exploit, but depending, I mean, if you tag the right person in the right kind of video, you can create a connection that way as well, and kind of build up your channel in the process.
I would ask, I mean, it's probably still a good exercise to be genuine in that. I've come across channels that I could have subscribed to, but maybe all they do is open modern. And for a long time, I would subscribe to those channels. And then pretty soon I have this feed of 600 channels, and it's clogging things up. I'm not watching it. It's not serving any purpose to me. So now I'm only really following unless I know I'm going to be engaging with them, and not so that I'm hoping they follow me back. If that makes any sense.
Right. No,
I mean, of course, you do your channel however you want. It's just
right.
How I
I understand what you're saying. I still follow a bunch of the modern guys, but my running joke is there's no one who probably watches more YouTube than Orlando, and a close second might be Brian Hodges 1455. But I find myself watching more YouTube than I do television now. I try to support as many channels as I can, and I don't watch it 2-speed. I watch full video. I watch the full video. I really try to engage and understand what every channel is trying to do, and that's a lot. It's a lot. I'm on that iPad a long time. It becomes so. I think people are pretty understanding. I try to reciprocate all the time. If someone subscribes to me, they have a channel, but I don't expect them to watch me. I understand if people I get a kick out of it when friends. You guys are friends. I have other friends, and they'll say, "Oh, sorry, I missed your last 2 videos. I need to catch up." I'm like, "Don't worry about it." I'm like, you're still my friend if you don't watch my next 10 videos. So don't feel concerned about it. So,
the one thing I think it sounds like we're similar in that if I decide I'm going to watch a video, I see that Dan is in the chat and Reindeer Studios. I don't know if Warren's in the chat, but I just watched their thing on the 48 Indians with the author. And I have that book. It's next on my list. But if I'm going to watch a video like that, I am watching every minute of it, because if I'm just going skip for the good part, I might be missing something I want to see. I'm there for the education, so why would I skip any of it? The only time I'm skipping videos if someone's opening TTMs and the title says 3 TTM returns and the video is 48 minutes. I'm skipping some of that. But if it's something like a rebroadcast of something like this, I'm just putting it on. I'm on the way to work. It's on the speakers or whatever. I put it up on the TV here, or while I'm sorting cards, it's on my PC. And I pretty much watch every minute of every video, unless there's just a whole bunch of stuff that's nothing.
Eddie, I will say some of my favorite videos that you make are the videos when you're driving. I watch everything. I just watched your last one, because it's just you talking, and it's just your thoughts and what you're feeling and what's on your mind. And I'm not a real organized content creator. I shoot a video when something hits my head, and I'm like, oh, this will be a good one. And I just go, and I don't know that I could do that. Just get in the car and do that. And I love that. I love hearing, all right, what's on his mind? What's he got going on here? Let's hear it.
Yeah. What's funny is, holy smokes, getting lit up today.
Popular.
I don't really script those out. I have an idea of what I want to say, but I'm just someone I think it comes out. I'm thinking of it. It's coming out as I'm thinking of it. I'm working through my thoughts. And people seem to really like those. If I'm showing cards here, I try to make videos as short as I can and kind of get to the point. And for me, if a video is 8 minutes long, ooh, that's kind of long. Okay. Billy Ballgame, who I love, he'll turn his camera on 40 minutes and talk about 3 cards. But again, watch the whole thing, because I love Billy. right?
I'll openly admit it. I'm long-winded. I'm long-winded.
Yeah. But with those driving videos, I don't put any time constraints on myself, because if someone's going to put that on, they're probably putting it on to watch the whole thing. So,
Yep.
Yeah, the one thing I think I forget who I told this to the other day. I don't want to like abuse that format. It's like, oh, he's did 2 today, and just because they're people responding to him. I don't want like every third video. So I'm trying to maybe like every 5th or 6th video drop one in, and only if I feel like I got something to say.
I love them.
But thank you.
If you did 3 a week, I love them. I think they're fantastic.
I think you should make 5 a day. Just don't stop. One every like 2 or 3 hours.
I'll move further away from work so I have more drive time. Yeah.
I will say this: I'm gonna blast a plug out there. I was talking to Sammy and Eddie before we got on the screen, and this is for everybody who's watching. My good friend Chris from Missouri called me today, and he mentioned to me, he's like, "Hey, you're gonna be on. Why don't you just throw this out there for anybody who's planning on going to Strongsville and has yet to book a room? You might find that the Best Western is booked out, but the reality is that they are not. They saved off a block of rooms for this community. So if you call the Best Western on Royalton Street in Strongsville directly, and you tell them you're part of the YouTube content creator community, they have rooms saved off for us. So all of you who waited last minute, although it's not even really last minute right now, it's not until April, but if you still need to book a room, call the Best Western Royalton directly. Tell them you're part of the YouTube community or the YouTube content creator community, and even throw Chris's name out there if you need to book a room, because they might look like they're booked out, but they're technically not. And I just wanted to get that out there. Chris had asked me to do that, and I think it's important. We want to get as many people as we can there, So please do that if you haven't booked already.
So everybody call the Best Western Plus Strongsville.
Yeah.
There's my public service. 238-8800. Mention Chris from Missouri. That's right. Chris from Missouri, the mayor of Strongsville. That's right. And book your room under the code name YouTube Get Together. That's right, everybody. Call now.
Petty just said if they don't have any rooms, you can just stay in Chris's room.
Use Jason to save 10%. He'll lay the light on for you. Motel 6. All right, sorry, I'm done.
Mike Good has a question here. Eddie, are you a transplant Seattle fan, or do you live in the area?
Let me pull that comment up.
Man.
Does that grind your gears?
I cannot imagine someone moving to this area and saying, I'm going to be like a new Mariners fan. Like, I'm going to sign up to root for this team. Because why would someone do that to themselves? Why?
Julio Rodriguez.
I was born and raised in this area. If I could perform a sports lobotomy to not make myself a Mariners fan, I would do it right now. But it's in my DNA, and I don't wish it on anybody. And I'm only kind of trying to be funny a little bit. It just sucks right now because they're in a contention window, and they're just doing nothing about it. I mean, the White Sox, Jason, they're historically horrible. Right. But at least you know that's going to happen, right? Right? Okay. My team, I know they're going to be a contender in late September, and they're going to fall 2 games short, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I know it's going to happen, but they won't make any trades at the deadline. They have this imaginary – I was going to do a driving video on this, but they have this imaginary, like, spending cap that they got a billionaire owner. They can spend as much as they want. But they didn't sign any free agents. I mean, James Masterboni or whatever the hell,
right.
Pardon the language. But I know CRT Sports, like he mentioned, he moved to the area and became a Mariners fan. So I'm not like picking on him, but man, I often thought about this as like a thought experiment. Like if you could undo your, love for a team, like who would do that? And I think if I could just totally hit a switch to not be a Mariners fan, I think I would do it. And I don't know if that doesn't make me a real fan, but I think I would.
No, that's an awesome thought. Like, because my team is the worst team in baseball. So you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to cut you off and say, I might switch to be a Mariners fan because I like the worst team in baseball. But the reality, if I could wipe my memory clear and choose a different team, yeah, maybe I might do that too. Now, I will say this. I have two teams. I have a National League and an American League team. Although my National League team isn't very good. Wasn't very good last year, and it's going to be a while for the Cardinals. There's some history there, so I can ride that history, second most World Series and whatnot. But that's an awesome. I never thought of that. If you could wipe your memory clean, would you choose a different team? No, I think that just means you have common sense. If you say, yeah, I might do that, unless you're a Yankees fan or a Dodgers fan. So
called a sports lobotomy.
Right, exactly right.
I gotta say, there's this is totally unrelated. But anytime I watch any of Eddy's driving videos in the wilderness, it makes me think of this video. I'm gonna bring it up.
Oh, nice.
I just think of David Lynch immediately.
Yeah.
Is this what it's like?
We need
second.
to dub Eddy's voice over this.
We don't have that much industry here. We're mostly agriculture.
I just kind of zen out, and I just kind of like get it in my head that this is what I should. This is like the thing that should be running during Eddy's Cardboard Chaos car rants. All right, we're done.
Love it. Yeah. So the part that I'm usually showing while I'm driving is for me going to work, which is up along the Skagit River through the forests, but the whole rest of the valley that I live in, of course, there's lots of trees, but it's tons of fields and farmland. So that's the part you never see, but it's not lost on me that I live in this absolute stunning, beautiful area. Absolutely. And I love showing it off. And I always get the comments, and I agree, man. I wouldn't live anywhere else. I would not. You couldn't quadruple my salary to have me drive down to downtown Seattle an hour just before I got there and sit in traffic for an hour and a half. And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. So
yeah.
Anyway,
do you enjoy the outdoors, Eddy? Do you have like any hobbies for the outdoors? Do you do any like hiking, fishing, hunting?
I did a lot of fishing and hunting when I was younger. I mostly just do like gardening and stuff around the house. A little bit of hiking in the summer. I have done some walking videos,
Yes.
which are usually like along this gravel. It's called Rails to Trails. It used to be a railroad, train tracks. And it actually goes from where I lived about to where I work. I could walk that whole distance, 28 miles. I won't be doing that. But anyway, so in the summer when the weather's better, I do like walking videos and stuff too. But it's more the same, trees and birds and grass and weeds and a heck of a lot of blackberries.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we're in the metropolitan. So Sammy, you're in New York. I'm in the suburbs of Chicago, but it still gets pretty busy really fast. But we have a cottage in northern Wisconsin, and it's more like what you're going through, what you live in, Eddy. Is I drive 300 miles plus to go enjoy myself and do that. So.
Right on. Yeah, I used to do a lot of hunting when I was younger, but as I got older and had family and my dad got older, he's who I used to hunt with, just sort of didn't become a priority anymore.
Sure.
Hey, the walking videos are underrated.
Oh, I see.
And I need to get back in shape, and I don't mean round. I need to get back fit.
I see Pastor Craig said railroads and then vomited. I think we should all take take 5 seconds to congratulate Pastor Craig on retiring. Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations.
Another frat house buddy of ours, Eddie. You know, we had, what did we have, 11 in there, something like that, 11 or 12.
That retirement money is going to be spent at Strongsville.
Exactly
Crazy.
right.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really glad the frat house moniker caught on and not the original CPAP house
Right.
name for it. Frat house is a little cooler than CPAP house.
We probably could have, Chris and I probably could have used the CPAP. I think we kept Drew up for a couple nights in a row.
This is why I just get a single room hotel
That's
room.
exactly right.
I don't room with
Hey,
anybody.
who you
I
room
have
with in
to know if
Strongsville? I
Drew-
said nobody.
It was supposed to be, well, Brian initially, B-Roth, but he can't go, so
Oh, he's not going?
no, he's not going.
I anticipated buying something off of him. All he has to
Yeah.
do is walk by me. So
Unfortunately, he doesn't trust me enough to bring his inventory for him. No,
Jason, I gotta know if Drew asked your permission to show the snoring clip at the end of his.
I don't know if he did, but I'm not uptight enough to care. I laughed at it. I enjoyed it, actually. Yeah. So I openly told him, I said, typically I don't snore. You and I were talking backstage, Eddie. I put on some weight. You know, I lost a lot. Now I put it on. When I put the weight on, I tend to snore. And unfortunately, most of those nights I was drinking with Chris. So all I need is a couple drinks in me too, and I'm going to be snoring. So I think that was the be all end all. And poor Alex had to sit in the same room or sleep in the same room with Chris and I, basically. So that was rough for him.
Yeah, listen, man, I can't sleep in the same room with someone who's using a CPAP machine. It's just not gonna work. I'm not doing that, man. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that would not have been the place for you then.
I can openly say now I don't have to, you know. So Strongsville, I'm flying solo. It's a single room. It's just me in a king size bed, and I don't have to worry about the national for the next 3 years. So
yeah, that's pretty solid for you. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. Although my wife told me to she's like, just get a room. I've got a friend who works across the street at the hotel that you're staying at, Sammy.
Oh yeah.
So like last minute, I might have him book me a room, you know, Thursday night, the get together night or something like that. I might stay there, but I'll have
Jason,
a car.
I gotta say,
What's that?
The hardest I've laughed in a long time. This is probably at least 2 months ago. I was watching I think it was a live stream, and Dylan was saying, I can't do the national anymore. I just can't be away from my wife. It hurts my heart. First off, what a sweet guy. What a sweet guy. But, you know, he's saying, I just can't be away that long. It's too far. And then I think you put in a comment something like, I live 30 minutes away, and my wife told me to get a hotel. Man, I laughed till I cried. I even told my wife, and she laughed. Oh, God.
I literally live less than 30 minutes away. My wife's like, get a room for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then the other
2 weeks will do it.
Right.
She'll do it 4 days. I said 2 weeks. Yeah.
Right. The other thing I talked about is initially my wife said, take the house and we'll go up to the cottage. Well, I say it's not even we anymore. My daughter's one's in college and one lives on her own. But she's like, I'll go to the cottage. And I thought to myself, that's fantastic. And she's like, how many guys would you have over? And I said, well, you know, if I did a get together at one point in time, it could be like up to 50 guys. She's like, not in my house. And I'm like, all right, looks like I'm booking a room then. You know, I meant 50 guys just getting together, hanging out in the yard. You know, I would do something like that. But that's still on the table. We'll see. You know, that'll be a last minute thing for those who want to do that. But I'm not that close. You know, it's like I said, it's 25 to 30 minutes away. So
yeah, it would still be, you know, that's the drive you'd have to make every day. And right. Be able to get. Mike Petty's leaving nice and early.
Yeah. But
I saw his comment. He said it hurts his wife's heart when he's not away.
Right. We've my wife and I have the understanding relationship that it's like, all right, you go on your vacation. We take ours together. We went on a cruise and we've done other things, but there is alone time. You go with your friends and I'll go with mine. And she knows what's important now. And the Strongsville's important and the national's important. So she gets that.
Yeah, I don't think my wife really got it until 2022 was my first national in Atlantic City. And then at that time, we were going to say, well, every other year we could probably do this, so you could go. And then 2023 rolled around, which was Chicago. I was
Gotta go.
I was like kind of bummed, and I wasn't trying to put on an act or anything, but I got to say I owe Four Leaf a ton of credit because he went live from the get together, and I put it up on the TV right as my wife was coming home, and she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Oh, this is the people at the get together at the National, and I'm just trying to be happy for them that they're there, and and I gotta admit, put on a little show." And she's like, we'll get you there next year. And then I think it was basically at that point she just decided, well, we'll just make sure, because she gets it now. She gets it now. I mean, this is my friends. There's nobody within 20 miles of here that I could show these cards to that I know that would care at all. And I say 20 because Flying Dutchman Cards lives in Bellingham, about 25 miles away. And a couple other people do live in Western Washington. But the point is, like, she gets it now. It's been long enough. And I told her about the Hall of Fame thing, and my son, I have 3 kids, and one of them's still here. And they were like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I mentioned, okay, I'm not available on this night because I'm doing this acceptance speech. And then they were like, "Oh, that really is a big deal if you're doing an acceptance speech." But she gets it now, and so now I'm national every year. And Strongsville, I mean, that would be cool, but to pull off 2 trips, now I'm using up a lot of domestic capital, if you know what I mean. So
right, you got to pick your battles.
Pretty much right when we do our state testing and start that stuff, and I can't really miss that time anyway. So
yeah,
sure.
But
I will say this. Scott mentioned Jason. I owe him a Bill Veck tour. I will say this to everyone who's going to the National. Now, first and foremost, it's not close to where the National is. There is a restaurant. If you're a Cleveland Indians fan and you're a White Sox fan, if you're familiar with Bill Veck and his ownership of these teams, he was a fabulous owner. His son owned a minor league team for several years, still does, I believe. But a family that's been involved with baseball forever. Scott had, him and I lightly talked about Bill Veck once, and he said, well, there's a whole thing on YouTube about Bill Veck's son. So I went ahead and watched it. I think I called in sick and didn't feel like working. So I watched YouTube. I watched, it was not YouTube, Netflix videos all day. And I watched this Bill Veck video or show. And the first 2 minutes of the video, they're showing Miller's Pub. And Miller's Pub is in downtown Chicago on the Loop. And they have a whole wall dedicated to Bill Veck. And I told Scott I would take him there. And the minute I was watching it, I think I texted Scott. I said, "That's the bar I'm taking you to. That's the place I want to go to." It's an old traditional restaurant bar right in downtown Chicago. My wife and I go there every time we're downtown, and it's a phenomenal place. So we might have to plan that for those who are interested. I'll jump in my car and we'll go to.
I'll hop in on that for sure.
Yeah, we'll go to Miller's Pub and have a dinner and enjoy ourselves.
Now, do they recognize his other? Do they recognize like his Indians career and his Browns? Like, do they cover everything, or is it like White Sox tribute?
I think it's mostly White Sox. It's just mainly pictures. I mean, it's not like this huge wall. It's next to the bar, and it's all dedicated to Veck, and I think it says Veck's wall on top of it. The original owners of Miller Pub, they were White Sox fan, so they kind of lean it towards that. And Chris has been there. I told Chris I'd take him to Buddy Guy's, which is not far from Miller's Pub. But Chris, we might miss a day of the National if we go to Buddy Guy's. That can get hairy. That's a long night and a lot of fun. Buddy Guy's restaurant. So we'll talk about that at a later time.
Chris is hung up about this, about talking about strippers at Strongsville.
right. I know. Is he bringing them in?
Yeah. There he goes. Oh, baby. There you go. I know that's not what he meant. But just perfect timing in the chat. Now it was like when we were trying to figure out where to go for dinner at Strongsville one night, and I mentioned this place, and he goes, "That's a strip club, Sammy." I'm like, "What?" I was like, I was just like, wait a minute. I'm looking at the photos in Google Maps. I don't see a stripper in sight. I don't see those fucking multicolored laser lights. I don't see dollar bills on the stage. I don't see, like $3 beers or whatever deal specials, like bucket specials. I didn't
Pizza
see any of
buffet.
that. And I'm like, don't upset me with a good time now.
So you showed him one of the 4 restaurants in Strongsville, and then he played it off as a strip club.
I mean, for like the briefest of like the milliseconds, I believed him. I was like, I rushed to look to go back in. I'm like, wait a minute, what? It looked like a sports pub to me. But I'm like, all right, yeah. I mean, if Mayor of Strongsville better know his strip clubs. So
That's good stuff. Oh goodness! So I'm excited, Eddie. I'm glad you're going to the national. That's huge.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a good time. I told Sammy, and I'm telling others, I'm kind of saving for Strongsville, and I have a couple line. I've got a line on a couple cards that I want to get that are gonna hit the budget pretty good. So the national might be me being everybody's tour guide and buying $10 cards. So I said I have no problem, be in the car and taking everybody around. If someone needs to know where they need to go, I can help them with that. So kind of like Scott did that for us.
Yeah, get the baton from him. So
yeah, he did that for everybody in Cleveland. So
yeah, I've never been to Chicago, so I'm pretty excited too.
Oh, this is your first time.
Yeah.
All right. I will tell you first and foremost, it's a suburb of Chicago where it's at. It's technically not in Chicago. It's in Rosemont, and everybody calls it Chicago. It's closer to the city than I am. I'm west of Rosemont, and Rosemont's probably about 30 minutes from the city. But you can take. Someone was. I think it was Legends of the Dugout. Dave, another frat house brother, did a video, and he was talking about taking, or maybe it was Dylan talking about taking the worst train ride ever, and it was packed because he jumped on the L to go to a game. And if you're going to jump on the L during game day, particularly a Cubs game, it's going to be packed and crowded and crazy.
Well, Dylan was just worried about falling in the little gap between the platform and the tree. So,
right.
The battle of the little people.
That's a lot of stress for him. So.
If he were to come back, I'd get one of those child leashes for him and then tether him to me.
Yeah, man.
I love Dylan. He's awesome.
Just put him near the centered stuff, and he'll babysit himself. It's fine. Tether him to the table.
Dylan's in the chat too. Train from hell.
He's the best. He knows I love him, and I'm teasing.
But
pure passion. That guy is pure passion. It's hard not to like this hobby. Watch a Dylan video if you're down on yourself about the hobby.
Mookie, come on, man. This is, it's not the Mookie Chilson show. We don't. I know you have a wrench, but but we can't start over. That was like episode 2.
Right. And an ego, apparently. Just saying.
He's got Tom Seaver fever. That's what he has.
Oh yes.
So, are you looking for anything in particular, Eddie? I know. Let me see how good my memory is. I was not far from you when you picked up the Leaf Honus Wagner, yes. I believe, at the National. Are you looking for anything in particular coming up here?
Yeah. So there's one kind of bigger card that I have forefront in my mind that I might be looking at. And then other than that, I want to leave myself to be pretty flexible. I know that I want to take a lot of Hall of Fame autographs off the checklist. And the National is such a great place to do that. I wasn't in that mindset last year, but there's so much stuff I picked up and put down. It's like, oh, here's this great autograph. It's like $40. So that is something I will be doing. But I want to look at the Greenberg Diamond Stars. I want to get that card for my Glory of Their Times collection.
Fantastic.
And, based on what I've seen on completed sales, you can get a nice copy, between $700,000. And I think I could probably pull that off and still have money to do whatever with autographs or just whatever catches my eye. So that's the big fish for now. I'll probably come up with more, but
sure. No, that's fantastic. That's awesome. I do not own a Diamond Stars, and I need to rectify that quickly.
Hey,
It's
you
a
know
beautiful
what?
set.
I have one. Guess who it is? I'll give you a hint. You have a beautiful Gaudi of his. White Sox Hall of Famer
Ted Lyons.
Sunday Teddy. Yeah, that's the only one I have.
That's a great card. His Diamond
Yeah,
Stars is a
it's
great
got
card.
a cool like follow through thing.
Yeah,
It's back
fantastic
here
card.
somewhere. It's right in here somewhere.
I want to get the Al Simmons. That was his short run with the White Sox as well. So I want to
Mhm.
get an Al Simmons. It's a beautiful card. There are so many in that set. You know, there's just so much.
I
good
can't
stuff.
justify getting all of them because I don't have the budget to collect like that. But there's none that I would look at and say like, oh no, thanks. You know, if it was
Right.
whatever fell in my lap.
I think someone showed me is it Tony Lazzeri. I saw Tony Lazzeri on someone's video, and that was a fantastic looking card as well. Mitchell, White Sox fan and card collector, is building the set, and he does a video about once a week on the Diamond Stars. And every time I watch that, I'm like, oh, I need to add that.
Yeah.
So
A couple people have the whole set. I think doesn't Old Sarge have the whole Diamond
I
Stars?
think he
run?
might.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Peacemaker. There's Dave. He's got the Ted Lyons. Very good. Excellent.
You know, someone was asking if you'd be charging for your autograph this year.
Yeah, it's 50 for the first, but inscriptions are only 25.
What about the Hall of Fame 25 inscription? Is that going to be extra?
That's 50.
It's 25. I don't do like a lot of people do 50 and 50.
Yeah.
You know, the inscription's shorter. I always felt like they're ripping you off when they charge as much for the inscription. So you get a good value there when you get Eddie's Cardboard Chaos autograph.
For me, I just want to hook her in some blow, and I'll give you give you the autograph and the inscription.
We're gonna take Sammy back in time. He's going to.
I would like to go on the record as having no comment at this time.
That's phenomenal. And you have extras of your Ricky Henderson, don't you?
Yeah, I still have quite a few that I've tried to give away, but I have one right here. Yeah, if anybody wants one of these, hit me up and email. My address is in the description of every video I do, and it's just a copy of my artwork, and then there's a little thing on the back. And I tell you what, if you get one of these, I'll sign it for free.
Look at that. HOF.
I do want to get rid of these. I'm working on something else to replace these, but my art is moving at an absolute snail's pace right now. So
I actually have
definitely before July.
Yeah, I'm watching my YouTube Hall of Fame auto collection went up by 2. I'm still missing my Transagram. That was John.
Yeah, I thought I gave him one, but I guess I didn't. According to what's up?
When is John eligible? Next year? Is he eligible next year? Is it going to be a boomer class like this year?
It's going to be an explosive class.
Yeah.
I think,
it's. I mentioned in the last drive time, it wasn't lost on me that I was the only non-first year person. Then I think 2 or 3 people right behind me. Hey, I see Alvin Davis in the comment. What was that? You'll always get my attention when you put Alvin Davis in. Where'd it go?
Right here. I have it here.
Will the new card be perhaps?
Oh, look at that.
No, it's not going to be Alvin Davis. It will be a Mariner. That's the only thing I'll give away. Although Ricky was technically a Mariner, a lot of people forget. It's not here. I was just saying, YouTube's grown, the sports card community's grown so much, and these channels that are like 1 year, 2 years old, 2.5, are just so prolific that had this not happened this 2 weeks ago, it would never have happened, and that's not lost on me. So I just remember seeing that 5 on that spreadsheet and just kind of staring at it and like, I guess it says my name.
I don't know. Within the community, though, itself, everybody knows who you are. Like, I don't know if that would have been, like, if you were short this year, I think it would have been a definite next year. That was my opinion. Because I did watch that drive time video.
We'll never know. I just, like I said in the video, man, when you and Sammy can tell you this, or anyone that's even got one vote, it's just there's like a little endorphin hit, and you would think it would kind of lessen, like with certain things, like you're eating a meal or whatever, and the fifth bite isn't as good as the first. But it's not true. It's always awesome. It's just anytime you hear your name and people saying nice stuff about you, and
No, it's awesome. And that's so the point behind that. I look at the YouTube Hall of Fame as that's the point behind it. That's what the community is. Keep it fun. I can only relate to Four Leaf does his All-Star team every year. And
yeah,
I had the honor of winning Rookie of the Year last year, and I thought that was it. I'm telling my wife, I'm showing her the plastic star, and she's looking at me like I have 5 heads. She's like, "What is so what? What?" I'm
so is that an ornament? What the hell?
Right? She's like, "I'm like people are recognizing me, honey. Look at this." She's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Dinner time for dinner."
That's great. There's dishes to do, by the way. Get your
Right.
ass in.
Right.
Can I say how much of a treasure Eric Four Leaf is? Because like he literally took care of all of the misfits
Yes.
at the national last year. He didn't go to the first day because he wanted to get the house ready and wanted to make sure all the dinner was cooked and everything, and just get the house in order. I mean, ultimate MVP. I don't know if you saw like what the misfits did. Yeah, I'm sure you saw that.
Yes.
And he was, I
Absolutely.
can imagine, I wasn't there for it, but I could just, like, Eric's reaction probably was just,
Yeah,
like,
that was cool of them to pay it back. He took the time, and on a different level, I look at Matt, the card story, and his wife in the same fashion. They kind of took care of us.
Mhm.
Now the frat house kind of became a goof, and we all joked, but the reality is it's a memory that will always be with me. I had an absolute blast. Couldn't care less if I had to sleep on the hard floor. It was a lot of fun, and they were kind of the stewards of the frat house as Eric was for the Misfits. Now he set up that I think he got the house too, didn't he, Sammy?
yeah, he did. Like, he scouted well, was it? I think it must have been him. Yeah. He literally, he took the initiative and just, like, kudos to him, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Four Leaf's one of these guys. He gives without expecting, and he gives from the heart. And it's not just like, hey, he set up their accommodations. He had like placemats, like custom glasses, and
Right.
was a Don Mattingly rookie on every like play, like
Yep.
insane. And it was
Lobsters.
cool they took care of him.
Yeah.
Of course, Scott's saying he's a big jerk, but Foley talks a lot, right, Scott? That was his when they first traveled to the National together, and Scott did his recap. About every third sentence, he would stop and say, "And Four Leaf talks a lot." I always remember that.
Mike Good is tired of us talking, and he wants you to show some Seattle Pilot stuff.
Oh my! I don't have as impressive a Pilots collection as you might imagine. I did start off the strength of Dan's vintage baseball cards two-part show he did. I started like a Franken set to basically get everybody on the roster, find pocket pages, and a lot of guys aren't even going to don't even have Pilots cards. But that's sort of like a mini project now, and it's not the top of my list. But that is something I will, when I get closer to putting it together and stuff, I'll share on the channel.
Very cool.
Yeah, I have a hat that I wear. I have a copy of Ball 4. I have a copy of a different Seattle Pilots book. I would recommend. I'll grab it because it's close. Seattle Pilots, Major League Baseball's one-year team.
That's pretty cool.
Take a screen grab of that. I would recommend this book. It's pretty short, but it basically talks about what happened, why they failed so miserably. Mostly, they probably shouldn't have been given a franchise to begin with. It's financially unsound. And then it talks a lot about the lawsuit that the Pilots filed against baseball that eventually led to the birth of the Seattle Marinators.
Is Seattle getting the Supersonics back?
I hope so.
Am I correct in saying that?
Bring Sean Kemp back.
Yeah. He weighs about 500 pounds now. If you haven't seen him lately, he's a big
Really?
boy.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a
man.
big boy.
He's a big boy. I actually have a Sonic display right here, which I want to go over. It's right here. You can't see it, but I want to go through it because what I did was I put together top 10 Sonic scorers and put them all on their Mag Pro and put the point total on there.
Oh, there you go.
Kemp is 5th all time Sonic scorer.
Who is
And,
one?
what was that?
I'm trying to think who's above him now. Where's Gary Payton?
Are you counting the Thunder in there? Because they went to the Thunder, right?
I'm shutting this video off. We don't count the Thunder for anything. Playoff losses.
Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, Gary Payton's number 1. Does anybody want to get in the chat and maybe
All right, I got
a couple
one.
stabs at I can tell you where
Wow. I'm looking at the list now.
Chambers is
Okay.
10.
I think I can get another one. Is Nate McMillan on the list?
Nope, but someone had Chambers. He's 10.
There's another Hall of Famer on there.
Yes, there is.
He's the
Number
blonde.
9. This is the only one not in the Meg Pro.
With the blonde
Hayward.
sensation.
Oh, I should have known that. Yes.
Mr. Jack Sigma.
Sigma is 3, and that one's kind of out of reach, so I'm not going to bother. I'll knock it
Oh,
over.
Bizzer was a Jizza. Dale Ellis?
Dale Ellis is 7
Yeah.
with
good call,
9,405 points. Now that's as a Sonic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
How long-
Ray
how
Allen
long-
is 11, and I have
Vincent
one.
Dave T. I think he's got it. Freddie.
Downtown Fred Brown is number 2. There's a Ray Allen. He's number 11, and that's all I have out is the top 11.
How long was Ray Allen a Sonic?
Not long.
Ray Allen? I don't know how much he
Terrible, but I
missed
don't know.
number 10 by because I don't have his total, since that's not a custom label. But I mean, he only played. He didn't play for them very long. He was just sinking threes the whole time.
Right. Exactly.
But we just lost Gus Williams. He was number 6. He just passed away.
Yeah.
What
I
about 2
got
weeks
that.
ago, Sammy? Yeah. Gus Williams, very beloved Sonic. So the rumor is the NBA has a committee right now to discuss expansion. And the rumor is they're going to say yes to expansion. And the rumor is Seattle's guaranteed a team if they do. But it's all just speculation pretty much at this point.
Right.
Until I tried to get my hopes up, because that happened a few other times when we thought Sacramento was maybe going to move, which I really didn't want to happen because I know what it's like to lose a team, and I don't want that for other people.
Sure.
So I'm here if it happens, and I would love to watch NBA again. I don't watch NBA at all. The only NBA games I watched, maybe 3 NBA games since the Sonics left, and that was to make sure the Thunder lost in the playoffs and didn't make the finals.
I will tell.
I'm not kidding.
I'll honestly tell you this. I grew up in a basketball family. I played basketball for 1 year in high school. My brother played for 4. Both of my brother's sons played college basketball, D3. We are a basketball household. I have a difficult time watching the NBA. It is rough. I love college basketball. I watch a ton of college basketball and absolutely love it. But the NBA, it's rough right now. Viewership is down drastically. They're kind of in a free fall right now.
Do you know what will improve it? I have one. I'll play the audio only because the audio will just bring your mind back in time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I call it.
Yeah. NBA,
Yep,
NBC.
I'm right there. Not a happy place. I'm not going to cross my.
Well, that was the heart of the greatest player to ever walk the face of the earth, so I'm good with that. And his buddy Ahmad Rashad was right there to interview him 9,000 times a game, so that was all good. I was good with that. And that's the funny thing when you talk about the NBA, because if you eliminate the Michael Jordan era from Chicago, because I've always been a Bulls fan, and you look past vintage, what I would consider vintage basketball, past the Jordan, earlier than the Jordan era, it was a rough 30, 40 years prior to Jordan. I mean, you've got Norm Van Leer, you've got Jerry Sloan, Bob Love, Chet Walker, and that's really about it. Artis Gilmore, but he didn't start with the team. So then you start looking at guys who Reggie Theus and
Reggie Theus.
The Bulls' history is not that deep. But everybody instantly thinks of Michael Scotty. So.
Well, the year that Jordan came in, it was like Orlando Woolridge. They had Charles Oakley. No, Oakley came.
No, they had Woolridge. They had Theus.
Gilmore, right? Artis Gilmore.
Gilmore was already gone. They had Dave Corzine was the center from DePaul. They had Paxson. Paxson was on the team.
That's right. Yeah.
So he was still part of the first 3 championships. But it was if you've ever seen The Last Dance, I mean. The running joke is they were too busy partying and doing lines and drinking beer, and
Jordan smart, smart, just walked away.
He should never have eaten that pizza though. That was stupid.
Yeah, no kidding.
Come on, man. Don't eat gift pizza when you're in a rival the day before a big. I couldn't believe that.
There was a guy on the Bulls, Quentin Daly, who actually got arrested for selling cocaine, and he was part of that team as well too. So, there we go, Pastor Greg, Quentin Daly. There, Quentin Daly was involved in a lot of extracurricular activity, and that was like when I was a kid. I was like 8 or 9 and followed the team.
I don't know what John is thinking, man. Like with Jordan coming in '85. Listen, man, the Celtics were still the dynasty. Let's get this real. Like the Celtics and the Lakers were still controlling things. It wasn't really until like the late 80s, 88, 89, when the Pistons and the Bulls started making noise. And the Cavs too. But the Cavs were good, but I mean they were like 86, the Celtics were the best team. I don't care what anybody says. The Celtics were the best team in the league. And they still hold the record for the 40-1 for their home season.
Yeah, I think early to mid '80s was still the Lakers, was still Magic Bird. Late '80s, you had the Pistons who won it back to back. But had Jordan not been in Chicago, I think Cleveland would have been that team instead of Chicago. But we're talking 88, 89, 85, 86.
If we're talking Lakers. The draft, what was it? It was the Rockets. Who?
Rockets took Olajuwon.
No. All right, I'm confused.
Sam Bowie.
Who took Bowie?
The Blazers.
Portland. Yeah.
Portland took Bowie, and then
because they already had Drexler.
That's right. Yeah, they had Drexler from the year
before. You
before.
don't need this Jordan fella.
Yeah, we already got a 2 guard, and we don't need this.
I guarantee you, John's about to comment something.
Oh, he's talking early '90s. All right.
Yeah,
well,
I agree with John on that.
No, of course. But I will say that I honestly believe if Len Bias didn't, if what happened to Len Bias didn't happen, I think he could have given Jordan a run for his money.
Yeah, so I was a huge Len Bias fan, and he was supposed to be the first coming, if you will, because Michael wasn't there yet. He was going to be the guy. That was tragic as heck. But you don't, if you're basing it off of what he did in college, sure, he maybe Boston hangs on, but once you got into '88.
Well, they had a stacked team. It's not like, Bird admitted that he would have retired in '88 if Len Bias, or '89, '87 if he was still alive. But you gotta think about it though, because at that time, it's not like they were like, if Bird retired, it would have been bad because Bird was Bird. But at that point, you still had. McHale was at the getting towards. Well, you could argue that McHale, even despite the injuries, was in the middle of his career. They had Reggie Lewis, who was a budding star. Len Bias. Those two would have been the future of the team. And they both had tragic, tragedy struck for both those guys. But yeah, I mean, I'm no pun intended. I'm biased towards the Celtics. So.
I will say this though, they got Paul Pierce, and then he got him one more, so that was good.
Yeah, well, it took them a long time because the Celtics were trash in the '90s.
Yep.
They were trash. I remember when they had like Dino Raja and Dominique Wilkins towards the end of his career, and then they got Antoine Walker, and I'm like thinking as a Celtics fan, I'm like, all right, Antoine Walker's going to turn it around. No, they were still trash.
He's a Chicago guy too. He went to high school. He played high school ball in Chicago. Was Garnett on the championship team with Pierce?
Yeah,
he was.
It was Garnett, Ray Allen, Pierce, like Kendrick Perkins, and and Rondo. I think Rajon Rondo.
I think Rajon was on that team.
Yeah, but they had like a stacked bench. They had like Eddie House. These guys were shooting threes all day long.
Gosh, look, Sammy. I have to tell you, I am not a Boston Celtics fan. I grew up being a Lakers fan during Showtime. So run and gun, baby. That's what I love.
D Brown, man. D Brown. He used to like give a lot of the guys in the slam dunk contest a run for their money too.
He won it.
Brown was good, man.
He won it. He won the slam dunk contest. Yeah. Where's Andrew? Who loves the basketball talk?
That's right. He's not. Yeah, he's not in the chat tonight.
I never would have thought with me being on here we'd end up talking about basketball, but I got no problem with it.
All right, we'll stop.
No, not at all. I wanted to ask Jason. So, here's my understanding of what's making the modern game, current basketball game, so unwatchable is that our team's just taking nothing but threes now and higher payout shots but lower percentage.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that come into play. First of all, I can openly admit Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA. So once him and Clay got together and the dynamics and the metrics of shooting threes versus taking a 15-foot two, it didn't make any sense. That was a problem. But the reality is there's no defense. There is zero defense.
Yeah, I see some of the scores, and I'm like, what is going on?
Right. Watch 90s and 80s basketball when the score was 87, 86, or 92. Right. You know, I mean, there is zero defense. They can zone up now. They don't have to play man-to-man. You can play zone, a derivative of zone in the NBA. So it's insane. So there are specialists like Harden and Luka. Luka doesn't play any defense. James Harden's another one.
Here we go.
But here's the problem.
I love that.
But here's
a great looking card.
Gift from Brad 8671.
Yeah,
nice.
He is the best.
But here's the problem with the
2,207 points. Go ahead, Sammy.
So here's the argument I have with the defense. I understand, like everyone's like, oh, there's no defense. There's no defense. The problem is that you can't guard a game that has become an outside game. You know, you can't really because everybody's on the perimeter, everybody's outside, and it's like you can't run everywhere. Like in the 90s, the game was inside, so you were able to be a lot more aggressive on defense because a lot of that was really just within the paint. But now the game is completely outside, and it's really tough to move around and be able to kind of maintain that level of aggressiveness.
I would argue, Sammy, that the fact that man-to-man is an option now as opposed to zone, that's what's killed defense. So, there is no more game in the paint, because there's 90% of the shots are outside shooting three-pointer, so you're spreading the court. But the reality is now there are no more true centers in the NBA. There's no more true centers.
Well, that's what PH is saying. They all there's no center. They all take threes. The game has changed.
Yeah. There's no paint work. And if he's not Shaquille O'Neal, if you find a serviceable center, and I'll give you a great example because I'm a Kansas fan. Hunter Dickinson is going to be an All-American. He's been in college ball for 5 or 6 years. He'll get in the NBA, but he's an inside player. He's a paint player, although he can shoot the three. But at the end of the day, there's no point for him because you can clog the paint now that you can zone up. Now that it's not man to man, you can just clog the paint. So if Ewing and Olajuwon were in the paint right now, you just put 3 guys on them and you're playing inside out. There is no more inside out. It's all outside. So I guess you do have a point. I think zone killed the NBA. I think zone defense killed defense in the NBA. And the funny thing is I don't even watch it, so I could be wrong. So
Yeah, different. But let's go back to baseball because everybody
yeah,
wants.
no kidding.
Yeah, something I know something about.
So if I have some cards I was going to show because these are cards that I'm selling.
Oh God, I'm buying something now. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm going to bring you back, Eddie, in a second to the big screen. But
Hey, no worries. I'm
But
big enough with the small
I
screen.
figured I'd take the opportunity now, selling my Clemente.
You're selling it, Sammy?
Yeah, I'm moving on. Making room for other stuff. It's got the Hell's Kitchen logo on his forehead. Moving on. Matt might try to convince me to keep it, but
Oh my goodness, you're going
Yeah.
big.
I'm moving it, man. I'm moving it. It's time to move on. Still got the Tris speaker I've been trying to move.
What does that go for nowadays, Sammy? The speaker.
Speaker? I don't know.
Roughly, I don't even know.
400 to 500.
Okay. Just taking mental notes.
Yeah. Bill Russell. I'm probably the qualifier just kind of ruins it because you really can't move qualifiers. I don't know. I've been flirting with the idea of cracking it and resubbing it, but
SGC maybe. Yeah.
Unless somebody wants to buy it off me. This already sold, but no peachy bench. Moving on from this Bill Russell, the inaction card.
Wow.
That's a neat one.
Yeah, I love that.
Duke Snyder.
What's that? What's the price tag on that, Sammy?
Well, I gotta be fair with Jay because Jay reached out to me first.
Yeah.
And I told him that he would have first dibs on it. So I gotta get back. I mean, I told him when at Strongsville because Jay said he's going, so I'd bring it with me.
All right. Well, if he ain't buying, I might be interested.
Well, then I think Dave is second in line from.
All right, I'll be third. I already got enough. I already owe you enough already. So.
Yeah. Clark Griffith. And some Brett Bresnahan. These are cards that have had trouble moving. Some of the T206s, and then I have a bunch of raw cards.
Is the thought of moving all these to get into something specific, Sammy? You don't have to tell us, obviously.
No, you know what? I want to get funds for the national in Strongsville. I already have some stuff lined up. For with you and Dom's David Sports Cards, and I think that's just you guys. I think maybe some potential other buyers, maybe.
Awesome. That's
some
very
Stooges.
Cool. What do we have, Eddie? What are you showing us? You got to show us something. You got so much decked out back there.
Well, I have to get up to get it. Someone did a video earlier on beautiful cards, and I haven't watched it yet. I forget who it is, but I immediately thought of something that's within reach here. This is Pacific Coast League set from 1910 OBAC. And this is one of the more stunning ones. And it's a Seattle player, which at the time, 1910, Seattle minor league team was Seattle Giants. And a lot of them have sort of like a T206 quality with a really beautiful like sunset or skyline. And this one I got at the very first state convention I went to. I think it was 2021. At the time, it was the first card show I'd been to in something like 30 years. And
gorgeous.
This guy had this for like $70. And I was like, you take 60. And he took it. And he said, I heard this is one of the harder players to get. And I said, oh, okay. I had no idea.
Right.
And since I bought this in 2021, I've seen 2 listed on eBay in that time. One was like a 3, and the guy had like $800 on it, and it just disappeared. I don't know. And the other one I think was ungraded, and I'm not sure what happened to that. So I do believe this is like a short print, and this guy played in the majors for like 12 years, so he wasn't just a minor leaguer. But this is just, I'm a lot like John, 3D 80s kid. I view cards just based solely on aesthetics and not how much I like the subject matter.
Yes.
So, you know, a panel rookie card is always going to get beat by an action shot of a guy hitting a home run in a friendly design. So where was I going with this?
Beautiful cards.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me that, like, you know, most people aren't going to know who this player is. I was saying at one point, someone had a VR for your most beautiful cards, and then you had to like pick the most beautiful card. So I had like a top 5 or 10, and I landed on this one, even though I certainly have cards that are beautiful, that are more valuable. There's none more beautiful than this, in my opinion, in my collection. I even like the tree back there.
My favorite card, most beautiful card, is of a common player. Well, you know, a good player, and not a Hall of Famer, and I just love it. I've shown it on the channel a bazillion times, and I tell everybody this is my favorite card, and it's just gorgeous. I lean towards you and John's mentality. The aesthetics of the card is extremely important to me. What's less important to me is centering and corners and things of that nature. So, if the card looks good, you know, you know, what is Johnny Bench's best looking card to me? It's his 76. I just love that card with the dust kicking up. It's a gorgeous card.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what I gravitate towards. Marichal has a 74, where he's doing his extremely high leg kick.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful card, and you can pick it up probably for $10-15.
Yeah, and the great thing is when you train your eye to really focus on the aesthetics of the card, you can find stunning cards that are a couple dollars. Even of Hall of Famers. I got looking at 85 Topps Burt Blyleven the other day, and there's just something about like the balance and how the background is brought out and just the layout of it. It's a really good, great looking card.
Yes.
And that one you could get for $1 probably.
I went budget buying the other day and did a video. 75 Steve Carlton, red orange background matching his red of the Phillies. He's in his windup. To me, this image is phenomenal, and I spent $2. That's what this cost me. A Hall of Famer, and it was $2.
I got a Carlton for you. Want this, Carlton? Got plenty of Carltons.
You know what? His early stuff is phenomenal. From you know, I have a 67. That's probably my favorite Carlton. That's a gorgeous card. His 70 is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve Vintage on Vintage. He loves the 70 Tony Perez, and I love that card as well, aesthetics wise. I just think there's so many great cards out there, and you don't have to go crazy spending huge dollars.
Absolutely.
You know what's I found this is a cool card that I bought a while ago, but they don't go for a lot of money. But I just kind of thought it was kind of cool to see, Gibson with some palm trees, and
that's awesome.
I think it must be spring training. I forget this. It's like 1970. I forget this name of this set. I can't remember. I think it's 1970. Someone in the chat will tell me. Dell Stamps. That's right. He got it right.
Okay.
Here. Yeah, and like they got some good. You can get some good players. You got Reggie.
That's a great looking card.
Yeah, this is a really cool Clemente.
Oh yeah, it is.
You got Hank Aaron. Obviously, I kept the Willie Mays for myself. No big surprise there. I got a nice looking Ernie Banks.
That's a fantastic. You're not selling those, are you, Sammy?
Yeah, I'll be selling these. They're not a lot. You can get them.
Oops, that was about to happen.
Bring them to Strongsville.
Bring
them to Strongsville if you got them.
Yeah, and Carlton with while he's still with the Cardinals.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And Johnny Bench.
They kind of remind me of the Kellogg's. You know,
they do a little bit, yeah.
Minus the 3D lenticular effect. They kind of look like Kellogg's.
Mookie really likes Tom Seaver. He does.
I have to watch Mookie's video. He completed the
Yeah.
rainbow. I haven't watched it yet. He did a whole Tom Seaver rainbow.
Yeah, he did. It's just
I saw that dropped too.
Seaver Rama.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
Man, there's been so much great content lately. Like I mentioned, the 48 Indians video, and I watched the interviews, the Eddy Watt interview.
That was awesome.
I mean, there's 3.5 hours right there.
Right.
It's hard to keep up, but I'm trying my best.
All of Drew's videos with Eddy Watt were phenomenal. The live with John and Dan was so awesome, though, just because, it was live. I don't know. I really, really enjoyed that. I even told him that. I'm like, guys, I'm enjoying this. And hearing his stories firsthand, they were phenomenal.
Man, what a great memory he has. And I loved hearing about the goldfish in the water tank at Pilots Six Stadium. Because I just listened to Ball 4 on book on tape or whatever, which is like crazy. It's like 17 hours. It's a long book. But the minute I was like listening to that and he mentioned Eddy Watt, I'm like, oh, I got to work this into the questions. But when I mentioned it to Drew, he's like, I'm already going to ask about it. So that was cool.
I loved hearing the story about when he saw Brooks Robinson. Him and his wife went to go visit him. He was signing autographs, and she wouldn't pay $1 to go in.
Yeah, and that's something else.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's great.
Well,
I'm not sure how much I got left in me here. I got some responsibilities.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What's funny, whenever I do one of these, I always worry, like, am I going to have enough to say to fill the time? And then you look up, and it's been an hour and 27 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
Time flies.
It goes quick.
When Sammy introduced the video, he said this is the 22nd episode. And I'm like, well, I'm going to need more than 20 seconds. But so at least
Hello,
womp, 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 womp.
that deserved a womp, womp.
Yeah, no, my wife is about to come back. So, he was out. So unfortunately, the boss is coming home.
All right.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this, Eddy. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank you.
I haven't got to really time. We've chatted and texted and whatnot, but haven't had a chance to sit down with you since the National, so that was nice.
Yeah, for real. Thanks for having me. And I want to be able to do more stuff like this. I'm not known as a guy that's on a lot of live or does a lot of stuff like this, but I'm definitely feeling like more comfortable with the format and more willing to do it.
You're a natural.
And, thanks for having me, for real.
No worries. That's Sammy's the man. He hooks us up. So
I do my best. Do my due diligence. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for participating. And we'll see you soon next week for number 23, a Michael Jordan episode, which I'm sure Jason was going to be looking the tops over. So
I got some thinking to do.
Yeah, man, you got to get some Jordan lovers on this one. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Take care.
See ya.